And hello, all you lovely people. As the wind dies down, I can say hi to all of you now that it's officially begun. Let's turn on the lights just a little bit. Ooh, we have lights. I don't know, maybe I like it darker. So, how are you all? How you guys doing? Here we are. I'm looking a little ragged. I didn't shave today. Check it out. I'm in my jammies. Ugh. You can see I'm in my jammies. So, it's one of those nice, cool evenings. It hasn't been cool here for a long time. So I actually am loving this kind of funny feeling of being cold. So, welcome. So before we start, I just wanted to mention what I was doing. So I think last week we were talking about distances a little bit, and I was talking a lot about Reactor, and What you just heard was basically me doing Reactor live. And the only added sample was something that I took in the park this morning when I was out and about. I was trying out a weird echo box in the middle of the park, and I decided to turn on the microphone. So here's the sample, and there's a reason why I want to play it for you, because I think that the song idea that I got, I think is worth playing to be funny, and then we'll get right into it. So, but first of all, because I'm trying to play this weird game of like, look at the camera, look at the chat, look at the camera, look at the chat. No! It's difficult. This is not as easy as you think. I think we're at number 27, and it always feels like it's the first time. I know I'm better at it now than I was, but man, some of them, I don't know. Uh-oh, what did I just do? I think I just did something. Uh-oh. Shit. Yeah, I think I just ruined the signal, but hopefully not too much. All right. So that was weird. Ah, crap. I'll fix it when I play a song. I pushed the fader. So, hi to all of you. Nice to see Mikey back. Hope you're feeling better. We have to talk tomorrow, I know. Hi to everyone in Twitch. Hi to everyone on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope. Man, it's all over the place tonight, and I love it. I love when I see a multitude of different platforms. I really do. And if you're wondering how the heck I'm doing that, it's because I'm using a service called Restream. They're not sponsoring this or anything like that. It's just that I pay for it. But it allows me to stream to multiple places at once. And, you know, for the moment, I'm not getting banned anywhere, so that's good. But in case I do, now you know you can jump to one of the other ones. But I did fix anythingbox.com so that if you go to anythingbox.com, the stream is actually right there and playing right there. You can't chat with me there, I don't think. I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure. You might be able to. I haven't even tried that. But yeah, you can go to anythingbox.com and watch the stream there if any of the other places are down. So that's how I'm circumventing all the systems in place in the world that's trying to control you. I'm kidding. Maybe. But anyway, I digressed yet again. So yeah, last week we were talking about distances, and one of the interesting things about Reactor is that I can record things on the fly while I'm somewhere, and that's going to get better now because I'm going to get a new computer, and it's going to be a lot easier in the park. But so this is the sample that I made this morning, about 8 o'clock in the morning, just sitting at the park, just watching the trees and all that. Just this. And the reason I'm playing this is because I'm going to play you a song idea that I got right after. But the funny part about the song idea, so that's the sample. So the funny thing about the song is that I plagiarized myself, and I thought that was really funny. So I did a run of this, and I thought this is funny to me, and I think I'll play it tonight at the stream. I usually don't want to play demos like this because I want to explain. These demos that I've been doing, they're for me to work out arrangements. So I might sing nonsense words. I might be completely off key. There could be sirens, all kinds of stuff going on because I don't, I'm not paying attention to that at the moment. I'm just trying to write songs. So, but I want you to hear this one because I want to see if you guys pick up on what I'm doing. So anyway, I'm going to play that first so you can hear what I'm doing. never do it again. And I'm not afraid. And I just move on. I can't forget what is wrong with everything I regret. I could plagiarize myself yet again, but whatever happens, I won't forget where I came from. Where I came from. So, who got it right and who got it wrong? Let's see. Don't you forget where. And that was a bus. Came from. I am so afraid of living in oblivion. You were wrong, Steve. It wasn't that one. Although that one ripped that off too, so it's funny how that works. I swear to God, I'm gonna work on this song. I'm gonna do it, just because I want to prove a point. But anyway, so that's what I was doing this morning at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, and trying to get the last flyer up for tonight because I've had a migraine for like 3 days straight. It has not been fun. Yes, it broke, so I'm okay. But man, like, it was awful. And so anyway, that was a little sneak peek of things coming because I am working hard, man. It's getting harder to prep for these streams because I'm literally working night and day on art and music. So it's been productive. So I think I'm going to go to the next phase, which is arrangements. So if all goes well, I'll start, showing the recordings and all that stuff. But I digress. But anyway, welcome. Gonna show that picture again because for those tuning in, sorry, this may suck. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show. So we're gonna talk about this record because good old Jack on YouTube suggested it. So it's a weird one to talk about. So anyway, how are you guys doing? I know there's some crazy stuff going on in Louisiana. There's a storm coming. I heard just little bits of the news. I try not to listen to the news because it either messes with my brain, which is already damaged as it is, or it makes me feel like I start to get angry at things and I want to start like being an activist, and I don't want to get into that kind of stuff. So I want to just write songs and express it in a different way. So that's why you'll notice that I haven't been posting political things in one direction or another. And I'm trying to stay focused on the job at hand, which is life will move on. So you have to move with it. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I missed some of the news. So feel free to fill me in on what I missed, and we can talk about that too if you want to. But so Wendy just said it already hit southwest Louisiana. How bad? So Hurricane Delta made landfall in Louisiana. Yeah, some people are saying, I don't watch the news, I don't blame you. And someone wrote, I won't absorb news either, I'm too sensitive. Yeah, it's a very, very, very strange thing. I've come to the realization that if you spend 10 minutes watching the news, it's this weird thing. It's almost as if someone's trying to program out you to get angry and be afraid of stuff. So it just keeps beaming it that way, and I don't like it. In fact, I don't like it so much that I'm writing songs about how much I don't like it. So, but not that that's what the next record is going to be about, whatever that is, because I don't know what that is yet. But it's just that funny feeling that you get, like when you feel closed in. That's what I get when I'm listening to the news. But I hope you have your vino. We're going to talk about this record. And the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to this record is that this is one of those weird things that happens when you rely on technology. So technology at the time that this record was being written, not recorded, not this version. We're lucky we even have this version. But when it was being written, those of you who might have gotten the newsletter when we used to send out mail newsletters and you would get them in your mailbox, your real mailbox. I was working on an album, and I'm trying to remember the name that I had given it, because that's how much in my memory I forgot about it and didn't want to think about this loss. Reconstructivism was what was it was going to be called. It was going to be an EP/album, and it was going to follow Hope. So this is between Hope and Electrodelica. So there's an album in between that was going to happen. And a couple of cool things, and I'm going to check chats in a second when I'm playing the song that I'm going to play. But one of the things that happened, though, was at the time, technology was my MPC stored all of its sequences and its sounds on floppy disks. And I used to keep 2 copies. So it would be like, load this one with the sounds and the song, save, pop the next one in, do the same thing, save. So I knew I always had, 2 copies. Well, something happened to the MPC one night, and it literally lost all the tracks. Every single song was lost. And when I reloaded the backup, it killed it too. So I think it was like 17 songs or something like that. No. Okay, I'm sorry. It was about 12 songs at the time. All 12 gone. Just gone. So very depressing. Started over. Got the sequences back. Couldn't remember all the parts of some of the songs because they were new. And as frustrating as it was, I got it back up and running. So then I start doing the demos and getting the arrangements done. And I would do quick DAT backups. DAT was the way that we would do our final mixes before the computer, of course. The DAT machine ate that DAT. So again, all the demos and all the recordings up to the point where we were gone, just gone. I remember pulling the tape out. So mid-story, we lost the net. I should be back, but we lost the net. We've been having a lot of trouble with the net around here. We have more military flight activity. So every time the planes and helicopters fly overhead, because I live close to the ocean, it feels like it knocks out our internet. And even though I'm not on like the wireless at all, I'm I'm wired in direct, it's still cutting in and out. I think that's the ploy for everybody to get on 5G, right? Like, get on 5G because everything else is going to slow down. I guess that's my conspiracy theory right there, but it sucks. So I'm sorry. So we lost the internet, of course, which means now I have 2 separate streams with Quarantine 27, which is what happened last week. But we're back. And I think we're back everywhere, so. But we'll see. So, as I was saying, the tape ate everything. There was no going back. And years later, I decided to take apart the DAT and try to splice back together what I could get out of that tape. Now, if you know DAT technology, if you're familiar with it, it's sort of like a VCR. You can't technically snip it and put it back together. There's time code. And if that time code's broken, the tape just won't play. You'll just see a lot of noise. And on the audio side of things, you would just hear white noise. You wouldn't hear music. What I managed to do, and I don't know how it happened, is that when I spliced it back together, I lost all the ID points in the tape, but I was able to play some of the songs and get the masters off of it. So 99.9% of this record was what was saved, which is why I called it Recovered. So that's why the title is Recovered, because this is what was left of the entire record. So songs that didn't or weren't going to be re-recorded, I gave up on for a while. It gets to a point where you're like, I'm already on other things. I don't want to go back. But all in all, I'm very happy with the way this one turned out. This is one of the ones that, as a fan, because if I can say that and not sound vain, but I guess it sounds vain. But as a fan, this is one of the ones I listen to on occasion. If I feel like listening to Abox or like reminding myself where we come from, this is the one I put on. This is the one right here. So I'm going to play a song from it and stop talking because I'm talking too much. I am talking too much. But I'll play a song. We'll play a song and do some visuals and I don't know. We'll do something. Yeah, we'll play that. Great Divide. Oops. Forgot to turn the mic back on. The Great Divide. So I'm going to fix this whole studio again. I'm going to figure something out. I like to have the mic in front of me, so I think I'm going to hold it in my hand or something. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that was The Great Divide. It is set to a 3/4. And someone said they thought it was the first time that they heard a synthpop song in 3/4. I'd love to take credit for that, but no, it's not. OMD did it first. They did it on Architecture and Morality, which I love that album. And so I probably took a few hints of doing a 3/4. I know I always wanted to, because we always wanted to do a waltzy song, because we had songs like this in our set. In fact, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this song was in the abox set in the early days. This is an old song, so. But anyway, sorry, something's gone nutty. Okay, back to normal. Thank you. So, yeah, so back to the story. So the DAT was destroyed, and the only way to really repair it was to snip it back together, and that was not an easy task. As far as the other songs that were lost, man, there was so many cool things that were lost that I just did not want to reassemble. Because one part of it is to lose the sequences. So, that's the melody of the song. Okay, so I can remember how to play the song. But the hard part is losing all the samples. Because if you lost the sample that you took, like you heard, for example, that sample that I played when we first started the evening. If I sample that and I use that sample and I lose it, I can't really go back to the park at 7 a.m. and expect that all the sounds and everything that I did is going to happen exactly the same way. And some of the drum sounds and things that we were using were very on the fly type things. So most of the percussion was lost. So that was really sad. But, and then someone else asked if we use the emulator 3 on this album. And I said no, and I am mistaken. We actually did. We used it for the song called Sunday. The guitar sounds on Sunday come from the emulator 3. That was my first expensive sampler. And the other thing that most people don't know, remember I said it was going to be called deconstructivism. And one of the things that I'd gotten into, and it's apropos for this evening's talk, is I had just started to get into digital art. Around the time that I was doing the newsletters and all that, I had just started to make digital art. It was the first time I was painting using the computer. And so I have 2 examples, actually not just examples, these are the first 2 pieces of digital art, which I then printed and colored over. And these go back to that time period. So this one is one. That was one of my very first pieces that I did on the computer, which is funny because it looks like computer art. And the other would have been a cover for this album. Hence the name, Deconstructivism. So that's what would have been the cover back then had I gone further. So the parallels, or I should say the fractals of how things worked out, changed, obviously. And then I get into these moods, so I'm going to explain the mood so you get to know me better. I don't know if you want to know me better, but if you do, this is going to be a heavy one. So if I'm working on something and that something goes awry, I'm one of those people that rather than continue to try to fight it, I'll just move on. I'll grab something else. I'll start something else. I won't go back to it and say, I'm going to finish this because it's caused me so much pain. I have to. It's very rare that I'm going to do that. I'm not saying that I'm not going to take on the challenge. That's different. I'm talking about when it looks like it's broken beyond belief. The last thing you want to do is reconstruct the album as it was, and then look at the art that you made based on 10 other songs that aren't going to be on it, and then think to yourself, you're still going to use that cover, that kind of stuff. I won't do it. It's not the same record, therefore it's not the same artwork. It's got to change. And, the way things worked out, it did change. It became that cover because I decided I would take the digital art a little further, and because it had caused me some pain, I went back to another era where I had felt pain to draw from, which was Berlin. So I wound up including a painting in the album that was from Berlin, which is this one. So that was from Berlin. And this one. Oh, and that one. You can't see it, but it's okay. I've got the original. I'm going to show you guys in a bit. But anyway, all that aside, the point is, it was difficult to reconstruct it. So I'm going to play now. Another aspect of this is I did have demos of some of the songs on cassette, and back then we didn't have the computer, so I couldn't clean it up and I couldn't add it as a bonus or anything like that. So for those of you who don't know, if you want to reconstruct recovered, you could take the recent EP that I put out on Bandcamp called Memories of the Fall. That is actually part of what Recovered was. Some of those songs were actually part of Recovered. And then if you are familiar with an EP that I did around the time of Distances called Rarities, some of those tracks were also part of the Recovered songs, which, like I said, I lost the sounds, so there was no point in going back. But I'm going to play a song from that would have been on this album, but didn't make it. So this one's called Riding Through the City. Now, if you pay attention to the way that my mind works, I later used that title as a lyric in a song on Distances. But anyway, this is called Riding Through the City, and this is from a cassette. So apropos, we'll put on the cassette visual, and we'll play it. And someone asked, David Nelson on Facebook, only one show for Recovered, right? Yes, only one. My friend Alicia had a cafe called A Room with a Brew, which was in Whittier. Is that correct? Steve's going to correct me, I'm sure, but I know I got that right. But it was called A Room with a Brew. And one of the cool things that we did is that, oh, and in the band at the time, by the way, by the time Recovered was, this version was recorded, Danya wasn't in the band, so all the backing tracks are me. So for those that, look at the Claude album as the only thing I ever did by myself, nope, this one too. So in the band at the time was Paul and Gary. Even Dave hadn't joined quite yet. So we did this one as a trio. And we played at Room with a Brew. And I remember I don't know if we passed out lyrics or if I had the lyrics in front of me the entire time. And we ran through most of the album, which was really cool because it was the only time we actually did that. Other than that, I'll take a song here and there and I'll play it. Although I will tell you that being in the pandemic, we're all in the pandemic, but being quaranstreamed has made me reflect a lot on a lot of the shows. And I feel a little bit more ambitious now in the sense of that if and when shows return, I'm going to start varying the set even more. So I'm gonna be playing a lot of weirder things, especially if shows don't return. Then I'm going to have themed shows where I do play a lot more things from a particular record, and it's not going to be just always the same 10 that we always have, because I honestly that gets tiring. So, although, again, just so that we're clear, it's not that I despise any of the old material at all. No, I love it, but it's hard to choose songs when you know that people have these 10 favorites and you're going to play for an hour and a half or whatever it is, and you're like, okay, between talking and doing all the stuff we normally would do, there goes the entire show. So what song do you play from a weird record like this? Or what song do you play from Universe? What song do you play from? So we've tried that too, where we take one song from each album. Doesn't work. So it is hard to do. So David's right. Yeah, we did play one show where Recovered was the featured thing, and I think we ran through almost the entire record. Were you there? Were you there, David? Oh, funny. That's when we were having the backing tracks on the mini disc. Another. Although I'll say this about the mini disc as my backup. They were so much better than running DATs on stage or sequencers because the mini discs were reliable. I never had to worry about them. So I actually liked those days. Nowadays, when I use the computer as the on-stage instrument, it feels scary sometimes because I think any day now it's going to crash. But you know what? It's been good, so I'm not even complaining. And when everything does crash and burn, you get really amazing things happening. I don't know that other bands can pull that off, but I know that we've done a candlelight acoustic only, a cappella only thing when we've had an entire crash. We've had a show where there was a gas leak, and I think we did 2 a cappella songs as everyone was being evacuated. So we've done crazy stuff. So I'm not adverse to the computer breaking down. I have to think with the, but okay. So riding through the city. So I'm actually happy that things turned out the way they did. I don't have regrets about what happened with the album getting damaged and certain songs not winding up on the album and then having to split it up. Because now when I listen to all the, because now you have all three, right? When I listen to Memories of the Fall, it's its own thing. So I'm glad that those songs did not make it, technically, not all of them anyway, onto Recovered. And I'm really happy that the songs from the Rarities EP, only one of them actually made it onto Recovered, and the others were their own thing, because they seem to have their own mood. So I'm happy. I feel like that's the way it was supposed to be. But I'm going to play a song that actually has the very first. This is the very first time that I used Reactor. So my Reactor usage goes back to, because this particular song, when it was put together, I didn't have all the samples from the old recording, so I had to think of something. And I started to play with a brand new piece of software at the time. I was starting to get into computers, and it wasn't called Reactor back then. Somebody helped me. It had a different name before it became Reactor. I want to say it was called Reconstructor or Constructor. I don't know. It had a weird name. And it was an oddball version of Reactor. But I got the best thing out of it. It was the only time I used it. And this song would not exist without it. So I'm going to play that next. For this, I think we'll turn on the overhead so that I don't get into trouble. I guess we'll do the moon. The moon's apropos. This is called the Teardrop Collector.
Have you ever held the teardrops that have fallen from above as the angels fell to earth in spite of all their pleas and sobs? Do you ever touch the water that is salted from their pain? Or the 100 million faces you collected from today? Do you ever feel a joy in hoarding all these vials away? Have you opened up the contents of a young bride's broken heart? Do you ever hear their cries, or do you steal them in the dark? Have you often dreamed in loneliness, or beckoned by the stars? Must you always follow passion? Must you claim all of the fun? When the teardrop collection you've constructed for no one, will you always break the silence? Will you always take the fall? Mr. Teardrop Collector, do you ever cry at all? Teardrop Collector, my soul deflector. soul deflector. When I hear somebody cry, I know that you are hiding there. Do you wander through their emptiness to drain them of their tears? Do you feel that it is wrong to do this, or am I naive? Mr. Teardrop Collector, are my worth 2 cents to keep?
So, yeah, it wasn't called Reactor. I still can't find the name. I want to say it was called Constructor or something like that because it was a weird name. And I had gotten it from a friend who said, you just got to try this out. And it was just a mess. Like it was like playing a video game to me. And I couldn't get to the next level. So I gave up early. But one of the things that I remember stumbling across was some weird, they call it an ensemble in Reactor, was this weird ensemble where these various white noise things were stitched together and they played little drum loops. And messing around, that drum loop came out and I was like, oh my God, I've got to sample this. So I sampled it into the MPC and that became the basis of the entire song, built around that one, that thing. So Jack, who sponsored this show, I'm kidding, Jack, he said, why didn't you make videos? Well, we didn't have the capacity. Back then, I had an 8mm camera film, and we just weren't thinking about videos at that time. And there was no YouTube yet, really. So videos were... The reason that we weren't doing videos is also because at that time, the only way you could have videos was if you were on VH1 or MTV, and we were like to both of those, so we just didn't feel it. So, which I regret because it would have been cool. So that's, it happens. You miss the boat on a lot of things. With me, I tend to miss the boat a lot because I have to wear a lot of different hats. So it's hard to coordinate video shoots when you're going to also be the guy that has to coordinate the flights for everybody. And then we have to coordinate photo shoots and where we're going next and recording sessions and, who's hiring the, whatever's happening. I had to really coordinate a lot by myself. So a lot of that was very difficult. So I wish we had done videos because some of these songs would have been cool to do videos on. But you know what's funny? No one says it's too late. One day, out of the blue, I filmed a video for a song on Electrodelica, and it was like 5 years later, and I just thought I wanted to do it, so I did it. So one never knows. So that was Teardrop Collector, and there was something else I was going to show you. Oh yeah, here we go. So this is the back. So that's the the tray card, right? So I think I've shown this before, but this is the tray card, the original. That's the original work. And this was done, I believe this one's from Berlin. It tells me right here. No, it was not Berlin. This was not Berlin. This was definitely not. 98. So this was definitely done, or must have been done in the same vein as this one, but for that era. So it just shows that I can go back and copy myself. And the only sad thing about this painting is I have to repair it, because if you notice, I'll see if I can make it so you can see it. There we go. The white of the clouds has faded out because they were done with pastels, and the pastels basically have faded out. So you can't see the white in the clouds anymore like you do here. And you can see it's a lot. You can see how much it's faded. So I'm going to repair it. It's on my to-do list now to repair it. Because that art is going to be coming out soon. People always want to know, well, like, how can I get your art? It's not going to be Etsy. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going that route. And by the way, most of the prints and things that you've been able to get on Redbubble, they're going away. So get those while you can, because they're also going to disappear. I'm going a completely different route with the art. It's exciting, and I will share it with you when it's time. It's not quite time yet, but I will. There's a lot of exciting things happening with the art side, which completely surprised me, because out of all the things in 2020 that I expected would possibly help me this year, it's the art. So once again, it's bailed me out. So I'm really grateful that I've been given an opportunity. So I'm going to take it. But that said, I want you guys to know that anyone who's holding one of the 50 paintings, and anyone who owns like any original art of mine, it's about to go up in value. So that's kind of cool. It's nice to be able to say that to you guys. So I think that's rad. So it's all about to go up in value, which is cool. It might happen in my lifetime. I won't have to die first. Oh, man. Wait. David Lynch. All I'm reading is one sentence, and it freaks me out because I don't know the context, but I think it's Mikey, and you're saying David Lynch used people removing their face in the last season of Twin Peaks. Oh, yeah. Well, he probably got it from the same place. So either A, he had a copy of Recovered, I'm kidding, or he was looking at all the Dada stuff, which I've always loved. So a lot of the Dada things, they would be people with, no faces, or the faces are cut out. Hence the cover of Peace is like that too. That's where all that stuff comes from, that Dada period. And I have another painting I want to show you, but I'll wait for that one because that's going to freak people out. But so I'm going to play a song that did not make it onto Recovered. And the demo version of it wound up being the one that I picked for Memories of the Fall, But I do have a demo that was recorded in the studio later, or I should say earlier, because it almost wound up on Worth. So this is a song that's been floating around quite a bit. So maybe I'll get to it. And just for giggles, I am a David Lynch fan. So if David Lynch, if you're watching, if you ever want to do a video with me, I'll do it, like in a heartbeat. He and I think alike in some weird ways. So, although he's definitely weirder, but I love David Lynch's style of filming. So, anyway, I digress. It's that Mikey brought it up. So, but I'm gonna play a song. We're doing okay with time. So this is from 1991. This is the demo. This particular version does have 2 verses as opposed to the one that's in Memories of the Fall and has only 1 verse. But I actually prefer the one from the cassette more than this one. But this one is more polished. And here we go. And I think I'll do for visuals. Let's see. Oh, and when we come back, I'm going to talk about other things. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, this is good.
I feel the In your smile I found the words. In your smile, in your smile, in your smile I found the words. In your smile, in your
In your smile. I still like the one on the tape better. I don't know why. I just feel it has more emotion. And is this me? Someone's like, make an album. Oh, make an album about all this. You mean like make another album like this? Sort of. I don't know. You have to understand. It's like you can't go backwards, but at the same time, you can go backwards to a degree. So I think it's gonna be like this. I'm gonna explain it to you guys this way. Whatever's next, either people are gonna totally love it and understand where it's coming from, or they're gonna totally hate it and not understand where it's coming from. So long as there's a connecting thread, I think I'll be fine. But if there's no connecting thread, I don't know. But I don't know. You have to go with your heart. What comes will come. But I feel like I'm doing more electronic stuff now than I've ever done in my life. I am deeper into all this stuff than I've ever been. But I wanted to show you guys something. Steve, I don't know if you saw that message I gave you, but you can post that link. But I want to see if I brought it. I think I did. Oh, yeah. Cool. So that's my friend John. Travelogue, Pivot Clash. We did shows together. And I met him when he was very young. And he was one of the first people that I actually just allowed to come to the house. He recently put out a record, an album. And I definitely recommend it. It's very good. And if you're liking the classic kind of synth pop stuff, this record, I think, hits a nerve in that direction. So I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I've been trying not to listen to it, and John's going to get mad if he's listening, but I listened to it, John, in pieces because I'm in writing mode, so I don't want to get influenced. So I've avoided listening. But that's actually a compliment. So it is on Bandcamp. Look for it there. I believe Steve's going to pull up the link. I'm not sure if he can get to it. If not, I will on the next run. But I just wanted to show you guys that because it came out a few days ago. We had a wonderful conversation about music, art, and especially the current condition of our world. I mean, it's a mess. The world is a mess. So, I mean, we've got all kinds of stuff going on. So, I'm going to play a song that Mikey's going to know. And I don't think I've played this on the Quaranstreams, but this is probably the oldest song that was going to be unrecovered before it was recovered, and it was going to be called Deconstructivism. That is actually the correct title of what it was going to be called, Deconstructivism, not Reconstructivism. So one of the songs that was going to be on there was a song that goes back to about 86 and was in one of our in a couple of our sets back in Jersey when we used to live in Jersey. And I'm going to play this song next. And when we come back, I'll show you some sneak peeks of some paintings that I'm working on, and I'll explain something. I'll answer a question that someone asked about the art. But while this song's playing, ask me questions and I will read it. I'm having trouble going back up the chat because it keeps, this computer on the side here is freezing on me. So, which is why I'm not trying to go on Google and find links. So anyway, I'm going to play the song and I'll come back. This song is called Consequences, interestingly enough. And for this one, I think we'll use, yeah, we'll use this. it's funny. Mikey and I are reminiscing right now. Just so Danya used to have this habit. She still has this habit, actually, of whatever the song is, because I will give the song an obscure title, like I don't know. I'll give the song an obscure title, but she'll remember whatever her part was, and that would be the title. So she would say, "Can we put the goodbye song on the set?" So we would start to think of the song as Goodbye, and then I was like, wait, it's not called Goodbye, it's called Consequences. She goes, I know, but I remember my part's Goodbye. So it's funny. I remember this song as being called Goodbye. I remember this song called Your Eyes, like all these weird things, because she would ascribe those lyrics to the actual title, but it is called Consequences. It's like the consequences of your actions have caused me to say goodbye. That was the general gist of it. But so yeah, that's the oldest one, and this is the one that makes me the most sad, because when I had this on the sequence, to get the sounds just right was impossible on the MPC, because this was done with completely different gear. So it was sounding really good. So to lose this one when the thing crashed, there was no going back. I couldn't even get anything and any of the sounds. So this is one of the ones where I was like, okay, this is not going to work. So set aside. So anyway, so that was Consequences, or Goodbye, or Your Eyes, or whatever you want to call it. I think I heard it skip too, so I think that tape might be messed up. I have to look at that file. Either that or the computer decided to skip, which is funny. So we're coming towards that time, but there was another song from the same era that was also on Recovered, or would have been on Deconstructivism, the one with that cover, which is also from the late 80s, and I'm going to play that one next. But before I do, I want to answer a question, and it's a good question that was asked. I did not plan this, but it works perfectly for you're doing great, Jack, by the way. Everyone thank Jack for this, because he's the one that made this one happen. He gave me the impetus to come up with stuff about Recovered and Reactor and I don't know. But so he asked me, and I think this was the question, if this was me. And it was not. I believe that this was a picture that I saw in a magazine from the 70s. I think it was Life or People, but it was definitely really old. Public domain kind of stuff, because I wouldn't take something that was ultra modern and scan it and try to mess with it. Just not my style. So this had to be a very old magazine. So it might have been actually, I remember. This was from Life magazine. And I believe this was from the 40s, this picture. Or the face, I should say. And then I scanned it, photocopied it again until it was really messed up. And then I added all the text and stuff. This is when I was starting to, get into, Photoshop and all that stuff. In the future, who knew that I would get into that even more? So I'm going to show you a painting that I'm working on that I haven't posted, because I wanted Paul to see it first, but I guess you guys are going to see it before Paul does, but it's okay. I think he'll forgive me for this. But Paul was getting his hair cut at my house once, and yeah, we used to do that kind of stuff. And for some reason, I wanted to photograph him. So I said, I want you to do a pose for me. I think I have an art idea. And he did, which then became sort of iconic to Electrodelica, because we made a green, what we call the green shirt. For whoever's a abox fan that's listening and has the green shirt, you know which one I'm talking about. It's the one with Paul, but he has a robot face, and it's really pixely and very, very grungy digital art. But the other day I was playing with that very same photograph, and I've been doing a lot of weird things with going back from normal art to digital art, back to physical, back to digital. So a lot of back and forth between the computer and the physical world. And I did this, which is really crazy looking. I think I will show you that one. Yeah. So this is a portrait of Pablo with liquid rubber. And I'll get close, you can see like all the details, because it's a very interesting thing, I think. So that's actually Paul. So now I'm starting to take photographs and dig through my old photos and basically, turn them into these really weird, I don't know how to describe them other than to say it's almost as if you're holding an old photo in your hand. But it's a collage. So all these other things are glued on. And then liquid rubber is poured on top, and then I etch out using the scratchboard technique. So that goes back to the Hope era. So that's the new kind of stuff. Can't wait to show Paul this, but I don't know what he'll think of it, but that's Paul. So that's, very cyberpunk, someone said. Yes. Very kind of cyberpunk. That's me. That's totally me right now. So, I'm going to play a song from the 80s. This goes back to 1986. Would have been on Deconstructivism, got messed up, decided not to ever record it again. So this version is the only version that exists. Mikey will know this one for sure. So one of the reasons that I used to like this particular time period was I had a drum machine that I really liked called the Tom. And Tom was a sequential circuits drum machine. And what I liked about it, and I still like this about that drum machine, it had a random feature where you could write in patterns and you would tell it every so often, because the best way to describe this is to say, every so often, surprise me. And it would just play these random little patterns that I would pop in. I wouldn't know when they're coming in. I wouldn't know at what juncture they would come in. So it was really cool because it was almost like having a real drummer in the band, because it could suddenly throw a fill into the song where you didn't expect it. And it would force me to sing a little different. So I kind of like that. It was a very interesting interaction with the machines. So I've been trying to do that lately, and I've gotten it down pat now. So I'm happy right now with that stuff because I can actually interact with the machine as it's playing in a different way. So, but I know this is boring stuff for some of you, but for the techno nerds, I think you understand where I'm coming from. I like the idea of random mathematical things happening, but I like to be in control of when they happen. But anyway, this song is called The Martyr. And I'll turn on I think I'll do the black and white. Yeah, we'll do the over. Whatever. Moon is good. See, I would have ended the song with the fill, but the drum machine said, nah. I love that thing, though. I would love that. If you heard, if you listen to this Quaranstream later on, or if you listen to it again, or those of you that tune in and, are going to go back and listen to the different beats that are in consequence, because that one, it's all over the place. Like it has like a bunch of different fills, and it just comes in whenever it feels like it. I really love that kind of stuff. So Jenny Kuo on Facebook said Electrodelica next, and she won that jackpot. Yes, Electrodelica is next. Electrodelica is indeed going to be next. I've put it off, but next week I think I will tackle Electrodelica, which is hard. That's a hard one because it's so complex. But I think that one deserves its little share. So yes, next week is going to be all about that particular record in time and point in time. And I don't think I'll be wearing my jammies, and my dirty socks, but I might even dress up for the affair because we're getting close to Halloween. So I have to kind of think of like, what are we going to do for Halloween? So I think we should think about something for Halloween. I don't even know if Halloween falls on that Friday, but if it doesn't, as close as it is, we'll do something for Halloween. I've got some ideas, but right, an all goth show. So yeah, Electrodelica will be next week. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't too boring. Before I play the next song, I want to ask you guys a question, and then hopefully I'll come back, because you can take your time. You can answer the question now. You can answer the question tomorrow. You can answer the question next week. You can do it in Facebook, however, or YouTube, wherever you happen to be. My question is this, and it's just because I'm curious. I want to know. Have you gotten into cryptocurrency, whether that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any of the others? I can name off like a few, like Tron, Stellar Lumens, all that stuff. But I want to know if you're into it. I want to know if you have been into it for a while, like what your thoughts are on it. Give me your thoughts, because it's a space that's very quickly starting to invade my space. So, and I'm very excited about it. So I actually would like to know, like, if you guys are interested in me talking about that more, because as the weeks and months go by, it is going to be prevalent. So I think that if you're new to that and you want to know stuff about it, let me know, because I'm interested in sharing that knowledge. So I'm a newbie, but I'm learning a lot and learning really fast. So if you're interested, I would definitely like to know what you think about that stuff. And then we're going to see you next week, because I think everything should be okay for next week to do Electrodelica, unless, of course, something really bad happens and I get another migraine. But let me tell you, this last one, I'm not quite out of the woods yet, but it was a bad one. But I actually think, and I wrote this on one of the posts. I don't know which one it was now, because I'm on so many sites I can't even remember which ones I write on anymore. But I wrote that it's not, mine don't get normally just triggered by anxiety. My migraines can be triggered by lots of brain function. So if I'm intent on recording, or if I'm doing a lot of things at once, like I'm working on a film and then I've got to, finish this painting that's drying, and then I've got to work on the site and fix this, and sometimes that will set something in motion. It's like you get a little click and you're like, oh no, it's happening. And unfortunately this week was one of those. I was out for the count for 2 days straight. So I mean, there are worse things in the world, obviously, so having a migraine is not a terrible thing, but it's one of those things that can basically take me out, because everything I do involves screens on the computer. So if these hurt, I can't stare at a screen. So that sucks. I wound up doing this and sleeping. Whoop, excuse me. So indeed. So Electrodisc, thank you. I will. Wow. So yeah. So definitely hit me up, Electrodisc. DM me about the art stuff, because I'm doing it too. So I'm definitely heading in that direction. I've always been heading in that direction. I think that the whole idea of the blockchain and crypto art was always in my DNA, because it encompasses all the disciplines. So to me, it's like a godsend. I'm definitely heading in that direction. So anyway, but I'm digressing yet again. I'm going to play the last song. And after that, you will see the end screen. But I will see you guys next week. I really, really am grateful that you guys tune in and listen. There's a lot of things you could be doing on a Friday. I'm glad you're spending that time with me. And if you're not spending it with me and you're here watching me on Saturday morning or Sunday or 2 weeks from now or 4 years from now or 150 years from now, from an uncovered hard drive, from satellite cloud, that's fine too. I'm okay with that. All I care about is that the songs get through, and hopefully that what I do matters, I guess. I really enjoy being here with you guys, and I hope that you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed the music. And please spread the word, subscribe, tell people to subscribe. I need to bring that channel up. I'm going to explain to you why it's important. I'm almost at, the last I checked on YouTube, I was at 6,000 or close to 6,000. I need to get to the 10,000 mark, because I can't do merch. So I can't sell like limited edition CDs or like t-shirts and things like that on YouTube. It won't let me until I have 10,000 subscribers. So I have to raise that number. So if you can help me out, hit that subscribe button. You don't have to ring the bell, but hit the subscribe button and spread the word, because there's going to be a lot of limited edition stuff coming. Like you have no idea, like the onslaught that I'm preparing. I can't even hold on. I might be able to show you something. I want to just show you one thing. Hold on. Let's see if I can. I don't know if this will work, but this could wind up breaking everything. But can you guys see? No, I don't think it's going to show. Oh, maybe like there, right there. What you're looking at right there are just files of demos. And it literally is scrolling down now. I think I have 44 now. I have never written so much music in my entire life. Seriously, I have not. I'm not saying it's all good, but here's how it works. the idea that I'm actually doing a lot means that I can pick and choose. And so I think I'm going to have an EP soon. I'm going to start working on that. I still need a new way to record, but I found out that I can get away with some really cool stuff in this room. I recently got one piece of gear that I have to talk about because it's really weird, and it's not sponsored. This is not a sponsored thing. So I bought this. Have you guys seen this thing yet? Have you seen this? Look, I'll do this. It'll look weird. It's the weirdest flipping thing. So this is a subwoofer. This is the best way I can describe it. It's a subwoofer that you wear on your chest. And when you have headphones on, it literally sounds like I'm on stage and I've got like a blaring sound system and the bass is just like kicking me in the chest. It's awesome. So having this is cool when I want to do vocals now, because I can do vocals without having to turn on the speakers, which is the problem I've had in this little apartment, is I can't have speakers on really loud. So it's been awesome to try stuff out. So that's going to be one way I'm going to record. And another is I've done a mobile rig that I'm putting together that is going to enable me to go and record basically anywhere I want. So if I really do want to record in the park, I can actually bring out my condenser mic and literally record vocals inside of an abandoned building or places like that. So these are interesting experiments, and I'm going to do those experiments because I want this next bit of music to be very visceral. I want it to be real. So you'll know where I was and how it was recorded and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of planning involved, but I'm doing it. The idea that I have so many song ideas alone is crazy, but I just wanted to show you that because I'm excited. But all right, you guys, last song. Thank you so much for being here. Honestly, you can't imagine how important this is to me, because since there are no shows, this is the closest that I get to that human connection that I miss so much with doing shows. Because anyone that knows me knows I love to go do shows. So that's something I miss that so much. A year of not doing shows has been insane. So there are worse things, I know, but it's my little part of the world, and that little part of the world is sad. So I'm going to leave you with this. Please take care of one another. Be extra nice to those around you. Be tolerant. Be accepting of other people's different opinions. Have different opinions. Disagree, but let them have their opinion. And with that, I leave you with the last song. And I think we'll do... Yeah, we'll do the... No, not the Travel album. I'll leave you with that.
You're leaving tonight is the last time I'll see your face again. Does it have to end this way? Does it have to end this way for you and me tonight? Is there someone you must see, or am I blind? You can bring me anything. You should know what it's like to be inside my heart without you. If you run from me, I've heard this once before in my dreams. I've heard this once before in my dreams. I've heard this once before. Live a lonely life. See yourself decide. The future will pass you by. You don't have to smile as you walk away. The train is waiting for you in the rain. Oh, the train will wait for you in the rain.
I'm part of it. Can't you see it?